Hi, I'm James, and in November 2018 I was diagnosed with basal cell carcinoma, a form of skin cancer. I've never been someone who spent a lot of time in the sun. I've never worked outdoors, just occasional holidays away abroad, 2 weeks maximum. But I did use sunbeds for, it was a maximum of 3 months, maybe 2 or 3 months in my early 20s. And after that I developed a lump here under my right eye. I assumed it was scar tissue because there was no, sometimes it can be very obvious, it can be very red. For me, the skin was just a lighter shade of white and looked like a scar, and then there was a lump underneath it, so I assumed it was scar tissue, and it didn't look like it ever grew, so it was just something I always thought was just a scar. And it was only in 2018, some 13 years later, when I actually had a cut on top of the lump that didn't heal. And I went to the doctor because of that, just to get it checked. And I didn't expect him to say it was skin cancer, but he was almost certain it was. He sent me to a dermatology clinic and they confirmed it, and that's when everything really hit me. My career, I'm an actor, so I need my face, so this put my whole life into limbo. I didn't know if I would be able to continue with my career. And initially part of me didn't believe it either, so I sought a lot of second opinions. As a result, it was September 2019 before I got the biopsy done, and I was then scheduled to have the operation in April 2020, but obviously the whole world decided to stop in March 2020, so I had to wait until November of last year, pretty much 2 years to the day from the original diagnosis before the tumour was removed. Because I'm an actor, they offered me a plastic surgeon to close up the wound, all in the NHS. So I had one procedure to remove the tumour, and then I had an open wound for 2 days, and then the plastic surgeon closed the wound up. For me, the worst part of it was when I first found out, because I didn't expect it at all. And it just knocked me for 6, and my whole career was up in the air. And it still is, because I have to wait 2 years for the scar to fully heal before I actually know what I'm going to look like going forward. But it was just that initial 2-week period when I first found out. It was little things you don't think about, but it's when you wake up the next day and you suddenly remember. It's just day after day after day. It was just bang, 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 the same reality kind of hitting me over and over again, and just to the point where it's almost broke me. But going forward now, it seems to be healing quite well. It's only been 5 or 6 months since the operation, so I have to wear Sunscreen anytime I go outdoors over the scar, because scars are very susceptible to pigmentation damage. So I've been doing that and massaging the scar as well repeatedly, which is draining, but I won't go into those details. Yeah, so it will take maybe 18 months, 2 years for the scar to actually fully heal. So in the end, I pretty much will have had 4 years of not knowing what I can do with my career going forward, but hopefully it will heal up well enough for it not to be very obvious on camera. So for me, sort of what advice I would give, I mean, I was in my early 20s, I used sunbeds for a maximum of 3 months, and now I have this large scar along the side of my face. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. It's not just something that happens to older people. It'll happen to us here in Northern Ireland despite the weather we have. Grey clouds are one thing, UV light still comes through grey clouds, but the main thing here is if you don't wear sun cream when the sun does come out, our skin is not used to the sun, so it is more susceptible to damage, and the light emitted, the UV rays that are emitted by sunbeds are up to 15 times stronger than sunlight when it reaches us, so that really has a massive impact on our skin. So yeah, if you use sunbeds, you will get a tan, but if you keep using them again and again and again, you get a tan and cancer. A tan will fade very quickly. Cancer won't.